Never keep your word as a rule. Keep it only as a strategy. The world does not operate on fairness, truth, or moral purity. It operates on power, perception, and advantage. From the moment you are born, you are fed a comforting myth that honesty is rewarded, that loyalty guarantees safety, and that a man who keeps his word will earn respect. This myth exists not to protect you, but to control you. Because predictable people are easy to exploit, Machiavelli understood something most people spend their entire lives denying: human beings are not guided by virtue, but by self-interest. They praise honor when it serves them and abandon it the moment it becomes inconvenient. To expect otherwise is not noble. It is dangerous. A promise is a declaration of limitation. When you give your word, you reveal what you will not do. You expose your boundaries. And once your boundaries are visible, others will test them, pressure them, and eventually use them against you. Honor, when unconditional, becomes a liability. History is not written by the most honest men. It is written by the most effective ones. Kings, generals, politicians, and empire builders did not survive by rigidly clinging to promises made under outdated circumstances. They survived by adapting faster than their enemies, and by reshaping truth, and by discarding obligations that threatened their power. The man who refuses to break his word, even when reality demands it, he is trapped by his own past. Circumstances change, alliances decay, interests shift. A promise made yesterday may be suicidal today. To honor it blindly is to sacrifice the present for the illusion of consistency. Machiavelli never argued that lies are good. He argued that weakness is fatal. A ruler who insists on moral perfection will be destroyed by those willing to bend reality. The lion cannot survive by pretending to be a lamb, and the lamb is never spared for its innocence. People do not despise deception as much as they claim. They despise losing. If betrayal leads to victory, stability, or progress, it will be rationalized, justified, and eventually praised. If honesty leads to failure, it will be mocked as stupidity. Outcome defines morality. This is why appearance matters more than truth. People see what is placed in front of them. They judge with emotion, not reason. If you appear honorable, decisive, and confident, few will question the methods behind your success, and those who do will lack the power to matter. A wise man understands this and uses it. Never reveal your true intentions. Never bind yourself with unnecessary vows. Never confuse moral comfort with strategic intelligence. Words are tools, not sacred artifacts. They exist to influence, to delay, to disarm, and sometimes to deceive. But deception must be disciplined. To lie recklessly is to destroy trust permanently. To tell the truth recklessly is to give away control. Power exists in balance, in being honest enough to appear credible and unpredictable enough to remain dangerous. Machiavelli warned that a leader must learn how not to be good, because goodness without strength invites destruction. This is not a call to cruelty. It is a call to realism. Mercy without authority is ignored. Honor without leverage is mocked. Promises should be made sparingly and broken decisively. When you break your word, do not apologize like a criminal. Reframe the narrative. Change the context. Make the other side question whether the promise was ever valid to begin with. The strongest position is not being right. It is being unquestionable. This is how power protects itself. Understand this. Society teaches morality after victory, not before it. The winners define what was necessary. The losers are labeled immoral. History never asks whether a promise was broken. It asks who survived. Never confuse ethics with survival. Ethics are flexible. Survival is not. This does not mean you should live without values. It means your values must serve your existence, not replace it. Loyalty, honesty, and honor are tools. Valuable when they strengthen your position, disposable when they endanger it. The man who always keeps his word will be used. The man who never keeps his word will be isolated. The man who knows when to keep it will rule. This is the lesson Machiavelli left behind. hidden beneath centuries of moral outrage and misunderstanding. Not that the world should be cruel, but that it already is, and refusing to see that cruelty does not make you virtuous, it makes you vulnerable. So never keep your word blindly. Keep it when it builds power, break it when it preserves power, and above all, make sure you always appear honorable while doing what is necessary, because in the end, the world does not reward truth, it rewards control, and control belongs to those brave enough to abandon comforting lies. And once you understand this truth, you cannot unsee it. You begin to notice how often honesty is punished and deception is rewarded. You see it in politics, in business, in relationships, and even in friendships. The people who rise are not the most truthful, but the most adaptable, not the most loyal, but the most strategic, not the most honorable, but the most aware of when honor is useful and when it is dangerous. The world does not destroy you for being evil. It destroys you for being weak. Honesty creates expectations. Expectations create obligations. Obligations create pressure. And pressure breaks those who lack power. Every promise you keep against your own interest trains others to demand more from you. Every sacrifice you make for principle becomes proof that you can be pushed again. People do not respect sacrifice. They consume it. This is the illusion no one wants to confront. Society romanticizes the man who suffers for his word, but only after he is no longer a threat. While he is alive, he is exploited. When he is broken, he is praised. Honor becomes your tombstone, not your shield. Machiavelli understood that morality is not a universal constant. It is a political instrument. Those in power define virtue in a way that protects their position. When honesty benefits them, they preach honesty. When deception benefits them, they call it necessity, complexity, or leadership. The rules change depending on who holds the knife. A promise is never equal between two unequal parties. When a weak man gives his word to a strong man, it is obedience. When a strong man gives his word to a weak man, it is theater. The illusion of fairness exists only to maintain order, not justice. This is why breaking your word feels immoral at first. You were trained to feel guilt. Guilt is a social leash. It keeps you aligned with expectations that do not serve you. The moment you step outside that conditioning, discomfort appears, not because you are wrong, but because you are no longer obedient. Freedom is uncomfortable. Understand this. Most people do not want truth. They want stability. They want reassurance. They want someone else to carry the burden of reality while they enjoy the illusion of morality. This is why leaders who lie confidently are followed more than men who speak uncomfortable truths. Certainty beats honesty. Confidence beats integrity. Results beat virtue. The man who insists on telling the truth at all costs is not courageous. He is careless. Truth without timing is sabotage. Truth without leverage is surrender. Truth without power is noise. Machiavelli did not advise constant deception. He advised controlled deception. There is a difference between a liar and a strategist. The liar reacts. The strategist calculates. One destroys trust randomly. The other reshapes trust to serve a purpose. Trust itself is a currency. Spend it too freely and it becomes worthless. Hoard it without use and it loses its power. The intelligent man invests trust where it multiplies his influence and withdraws it when it becomes a liability. This is why silence is often more powerful than honesty. A promise you never make can never be used against you. An intention you never reveal cannot be blocked. An expectation you never create cannot trap you. The most dangerous players speak less, commit less, and move more freely. People fear what they cannot predict. And yet, paradoxically, they follow those who appear consistent. This is the art. You must be internally flexible and externally stable. Internally ruthless, externally respectable. You must separate who you are from what you show. This is not hypocrisy. This is survival. The world is not offended by betrayal. It is offended by failure. Break your word and succeed, and you will be called pragmatic. Keep your word and lose, and you will be called foolish. Morality is rewritten by the outcome, not the action. History does not remember broken promises. It remembers who won. This is why Machiavelli remains disturbing even centuries later, not because he encouraged cruelty, but because he stripped away the lies people use to feel good about themselves. He exposed that most moral outrage is selective, emotional, and deeply dishonest. People condemn deception in theory and reward it in practice. If you want to survive, and more than that, if you want to control your own destiny, you must abandon childish ideas of absolute honesty. You must accept that your word is not your identity, your survival is. This does not mean living without principles. It means choosing principles that bend instead of shatter, principles that protect you instead of exposing you, principles that evolve with reality. Rigidity is not strength. Adaptability is. When you break a promise, do not do it out of fear, do it out of calculation. Fear-driven betrayal creates chaos. Strategic withdrawal creates dominance. Always leave yourself an explanation, a justification, a narrative that others can accept or at least tolerate. Perception is reality's shadow. People forgive what they understand. They tolerate what they benefit from. And they forget what no longer threatens them. If breaking your word stabilizes the situation, reduces uncertainty, or creates a new advantage, resistance will fade. Time erases morality faster than any argument. The final truth is this: the world does not need you to be good. It needs you to be useful, to yourself first. A man who cannot protect his own interests will never be trusted to protect anyone else's. So never swear loyalty you cannot withdraw. Never promise what may cost you your future. Never let honor trap you in a position where survival demands disobedience, because the most dangerous prison is the one built from your own words. And the man who masters silence, ambiguity, and selective honesty will always outlive the man who confuses virtue with safety. This is not evil, this is clarity. And clarity is what separates those who are ruled from those who rule. At this stage, something changes inside you. You stop asking whether an action is right or wrong, and you start asking a more dangerous question: who does this serve? Morality fades into the background, and awareness takes its place. You realize that most moral arguments are not about truth, but about leverage. They are tools used to pressure, shame, or restrain others while leaving the speaker conveniently flexible. Moral language is power language in disguise. People rarely say, "This hurts my interests." They say, "This is wrong." They rarely say, "This benefits me." They say, "This is the right thing to do." Once you see this pattern, you begin to understand that morality is not a compass, it is a weapon. And like any weapon, it is used selectively. Those who benefit from stability preach consistency. Those who benefit from chaos preach change. Those who hold power preach responsibility. Those who seek power preach justice. None of these ideas are lies, but none of them are neutral. They are situational truths. This is why keeping your word blindly is dangerous. It turns you into a fixed object in a fluid world. You become something others can plan around, exploit, and manipulate. Predictability is comforting to society, but fatal to the individual. Control begins where predictability ends. A man who can change course without emotional hesitation is feared, even if people pretend otherwise. Fear does not come from cruelty, it comes from uncertainty. When others cannot lock you into a single identity, honest, loyal, principled, they lose the ability to corner you. Labels are cages. Promises are labels in sentence form. This is also why guilt is such a powerful tool. Guilt keeps you loyal to versions of yourself that no longer serve you. It forces you to defend old decisions even when reality has shifted. The past becomes a chain, and honor becomes the lock. Machiavelli understood that effective power requires emotional distance, not emotional emptiness, but control, the ability to act without being dragged by regret, shame, or the need for moral approval. Approval is a currency paid by the weak to feel safe. The world will always pressure you to explain yourself, to justify why you changed, why you withdrew, why you broke alignment. But explanations are optional. Silence is stronger than defense. The more you explain, the more you submit to judgment. Those who truly hold power are rarely on trial. At this level, you realize that most conflicts are not about truth, but about framing. Whoever controls the story controls the moral outcome. A broken promise framed as betrayal is condemned. The same broken promise framed as necessity is accepted. The act does not change, only the narrative does. Narrative is power slowed down into language. This is why you must never emotionally attach yourself to your own words. Words are temporary. Circumstances are permanent. When you confuse consistency with integrity, you sacrifice adaptability for comfort. Comfort is the enemy of survival. The strongest individuals are internally divided. They understand who they are, who they appear to be, and who they need to be in any given moment. This is not deception. It is awareness. The self is not singular, it is strategic. Those who insist on being authentic at all times are easy to read, easy to predict, and easy to control. Authenticity without power is exposure. As you move forward, you begin to notice another uncomfortable truth. People do not actually want honest leaders. They want leaders who reduce anxiety. They want someone who will make decisions for them and absorb the consequences. Whether those decisions are truthful is secondary. This is why certainty dominates integrity. A confident lie is more calming than a hesitant truth. Stability is valued more than accuracy, and those who provide stability are forgiven almost anything. Forgiveness follows usefulness. Machiavelli's greatest insight was not about lying. It was about understanding human fear. People fear disorder more than injustice. They fear uncertainty more than deception. And whoever manages that fear controls behavior. Never underestimate how much people will tolerate if their sense of order remains intact. At this point, you stop seeking moral purity. You seek position. From position, you can choose when to be moral. Without it, morality is forced upon you. This is the final inversion. Morality is not the path to power. Power is the path to morality. Once you accept this, your relationship with promises changes permanently. You no longer promise to prove virtue. You promise to buy time, to gather information, to test reactions. And when the promise expires, you let it go without sentiment. Sentiment clouds judgment. Judgment preserves life. The man who survives longest is not the cruelest, but the clearest. The one who understands that the world is not offended by flexibility. It is offended by incompetence. Break your word competently, and you will be respected. Keep it incompetently, and you will be discarded. This is not cynicism. This is adulthood. By now, you understand that honor is not something you owe the world. It is something you deploy. You keep it close, sharpened, ready, but never allowed to rule you. Because the moment your word controls you, you are no longer free. And freedom, not goodness, is the foundation of all real power.